Well, Coach, excitement on a new season. You got expectations, a lot of accomplishments last year. Just your thoughts on season's finally here.
Well, with the NCAA rules allowing us to practice after the fourth day of classes, I feel like we've been working with these guys for a long time, especially with the number of returners that we have. It's a luxury to have the roster in terms of experience, in terms of returners, in terms of just poise and different number of guys who have been through this before. So I think we're positioned well, but that doesn't always mean there's an elite sense of urgency when you start off the year when guys have been through it. So we're hoping to see that as we compete on Wednesday night in Manhattan.
Top 20 ranking to start the year. Top 25 has been a while since the program has had that. I know that's not going to get you any wins this year, but what does it say about your program that you guys are starting in the top 25?
Yeah, that poll means nothing. It makes no sense at all. The teams on that top 25 make no sense. They don't know who the returners are. There's not a lot of research put into it. So, we're just going to look at what we need to do on a day-to-day basis and focus on focus on the good. We're top 20 because we made the round of 32. The voters have no idea, how good there's no research done at this level at that. So, the poll's fine, but I would say our conference poll is most indicative with coaches who are really keeping tabs on the off-season movement, especially in this era of the transfer portal when things turn over so much. But sure, there's a top 20 ranking, but that means nothing on what we're trying to do.
For a lot of coaches, these games, in terms of the preseason practices, scrimmages, exhibition games, even maybe the early season games, are about trying to find your rotation. But you've kind of dialed in your rotation. You were saying at Media Day, I kind of know what our rotation is. So with your rotation mostly figured out, or maybe the things you want to tweak, what do you want to use these early games for in the exhibition to learn about your team?
And this is round 3. We had 2 close scrimmages that we had played earlier. I thought we made good progress from the first scrimmage to the second scrimmage, and now an opportunity to compete in front of a huge crowd as they, this crowd last seen their team playing in the Elite Eight. I mean, that's the culture at Kansas State has changed immediately under Coach Tang, who's just done a tremendous job, and our guys get to feel that energy. What do we want to accomplish out of a game like this? Well, number one, we want to compete, and to compete in these games, when you're playing high major athletes and Power 5 athletes, you have to protect the basketball. There can't be a wide turnover margin, and you have to rebound the ball. There can't be a wide rebounding margin. If either one of those take place, it's going to be a long Wednesday night. If we can keep those close, we don't necessarily expect to win those battles, but if we can keep them close, then I feel like we can be competitive in the game.
Vince?
There we go, I'm unmuted. So, Coach, as Blake kind of mentioned there, I know as we talked at Media Day as well, you have a lot of experience and you have, a lot of, obviously good returns and good scoring. How do you, use what you had last year and incorporate it this year, but maybe use it a little bit differently with some new faces that you have?
Yeah, I think, when our roster is really unique in the fact that we had 7 scholarships open up because our 7th man, 8th man, 9th man, 10th man, 11th man, and so on, all graduated, all got degrees and moved on. And we returned our top 4 players, including our top 5 scorers. So, I mean, we're positioned really well with returners. But with those open scholarships, we brought in some talented players. Solomon Aregbu, Kale McGee, and Drew Tenniel. Drew injured right now, changes our rotation just a little bit, and it thins us out. But, we also have some talented freshmen that will be the future of the program, but we brought in some immediate impact guys. And, that early on can cause a little bit of looking around, trying to figure out who you are and, extra hard competing. And just there's some dynamics that go into bringing established players onto an established roster. But we weren't good enough last year. I mean, we did not win the MIAA. We did not win the NCAA tournament. I mean, we got beat out in the round of 32. I'm not satisfied with that. And our guys aren't either. The expectation was that we would improve our roster. We did that. Now we need to find a way to maximize those rotations. And we're still in work in progress, just like every team is.
And as a coach, right, obviously you probably get the butterflies, you probably still have the same energy you do, obviously, every opening game, I imagine. What do you kind of talk to the team about, and your coaching staff every new season, right? Again, you have the new players, all that. What do you kind of tell them when the new season rolls around to, get the best out of them and hopefully get the most potential that that you can get out of them.
Each season is its own story, and there's a lot of dynamics that go into each one based off the roster, the returners, the quality of the year prior. There's so much that goes into it. So, with this specific roster, our goal was just to work on defense and ball movement early in the year. We didn't put in a lot of our staple sets and ISOs until literally the past few days. The goal is that we can get a little more ball movement. We certainly know we have great isolation players, and we will use them in isolation, but we don't want to do that for 40 minutes. The other thing is, how are we going to defend? Well, we were one of the top 10, 15% defensive teams in the country when you look at defensive field goal percentage last year. We guard in a really unique way as we switch everything, which makes it difficult for teams early season. But our goal was to take the next step defensively, and that's with better escorts, better high switches, better switching under, better full fronts, all the things that go into what we do. Some people are like, well, just switch it, right? That's all you're going to do. It's a lot more than just that. It's about for highly intelligent players, it takes about 2 months to understand our defensive system. For those who maybe aren't, don't have the highest IQ, it could take up to 3 or 4 months to understand how we guard effectively. So I think we're positioned well, but again, we have a lot to prove, we have a lot to do, and we have a lot to work on.
That's perfect. Thanks, Coach.
You got it.
Lynn?
Yeah, Coach, from an atmosphere standpoint, can this be a game that pays off later in the year to go and play in Bramlage Coliseum in front of that type of crowd, to where maybe a crowd that would be intimidating later in the year doesn't seem as bad compared to this?
Glenn, this is an interesting game. We had the option to take it or not. It was our year in the rotation to go there. And it was a question that we asked simply because we get on a plane the next day, just like 12 hours later, we get on a plane and we fly to Florida because we got invited to the Hall of Fame Classic where we play on Saturday and on Sunday. So to play our guys in this environment this early with now minimal rest when we open up the regular season, does it compromise it? Does it not? I'm not sure. We'll see how we play on Sunday when that's the third game in 5 days. But I do know this, that when we talked about do we take the game or not, it was a pretty quick response that we would, because we wanted our guys to have the experience of playing in an electric environment and competing. And we think that anytime athletes get a chance to compete at a high level, that it gets them better. You hope they embrace it. Certainly there will be, some nerves, just with it being the first, competition in exhibition play and the stage that it's on. But we feel like the benefits certainly outweigh the negatives. So that's why we gladly accepted the game. We're honored to be able to go play it. We're thankful for Kansas State University for giving us this opportunity. And it's good just for the state of Kansas in terms of, the guarantee money comes to Emporia State, which is good for us. We're all part of the same board of regents. It just is a healthy game. There's a lot of donors. I went to a Catbacker Club event last year, and when I went in, I felt like all my fans were cheating on us. Usually they're wearing black and gold, but all of a sudden 150 of those Emporia State fans in Emporia were all wearing purple, and they were singing the song, and I looked around, I felt a little awkward, but it just goes to show there's so many people in our community that either graduated from K-State or their children have went on to K-State and graduated from there. So again, from a state perspective, I'm not from Kansas, but I've been, this is 6 years now in the state. I know it means a lot to a lot of people. So great opportunity. We took the game. We're excited to be going. We hope to compete, and knock on wood that we stay healthy. We can get down to Florida and ready to go for our first 2 regular season games.
And I'm curious with Coach Tang. He's new to the area. I talked to him earlier today. He's very open, honest, one of a kind. Is that refreshing? Is it ever too much? The running the student section, the dancing. What do you think about what he's doing, or do you know him? Have you had any conversation with him? Give me your full thoughts.
Well, I am not in a position to tell Coach Tang how he should run his program or what kind of culture he should bring. I do think he is a great fit for Kansas State University, and I think that not only their administration and their community, but also their fan base and alum feel the same way. What they've accomplished in short order on a short recruiting year, maximizing the players that were coming back, and just building that energy. What they accomplished as a program last year is unprecedented at this level. And keep in mind, on the name, image, likeness scale, that's not at the top scale of all Power Fives. So he did it probably with a little less resourcing, and he built such stigma and excitement for it that that resourcing continues to get higher. So I'm excited for them. Just watching their program grow. Again, you talk about great for the state of Kansas. Tang is great for the state of Kansas, and how he adds his faith to the program and is unafraid to talk about who he is as a Christian, to the media, to his players, and how he lives his life. I think it's a great example for all of us, and for him to do it at a state institution, I think is bold and I think is refreshing, and I hope it sets precedents as moving forward, because I just think the messaging is positive, and it's really good for his program and the people surrounding it.
Last one for me. I'll end on maybe a fun one. K-State dropped one of these games a couple years ago. The MIAA team went in there and beat them. Are you reminding your guys of that? I know it's different staff, different roster, but hey, it's not impossible.
There's quite a bit of difference between Fort Hayes' graduate assistant coached that team because their head coach and his top assistant were out with COVID. I think each team had like 7 guys out there. I think it was a little bit different era. So no, we're not bringing that up. In fact, some of our guys may be on minute restrictions as well, just knowing that we play 2 games this weekend. So we expect to compete. We expect to go hard, and when we want to play really well. But we're not rolling our guys out there for 40 minutes. I plan on playing everybody, letting them get that experience, and so no, we're not going in and talking about winning the basketball game. We're talking about taking the next step as a program, and then we'll see what happens as that game goes on.
Thanks, Coach.
Awesome. Anything else? I appreciate you too. Take care. All right.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Well, how excited are you to get up there to Kansas State and see the Power Five firsthand?
Super exciting. I mean, every year, just the beginning of the year, the energy that the team has, it's just satisfying getting to compete against somebody else, especially in a situation like that. It's going to be a great opportunity.
Obviously, you guys are getting preseason accolades, picked high in your conference, picked in the top 25, and all of that is mostly based on what you guys did last year. How did you guys get motivated from last year? Obviously, maybe thinking that, obviously it was a great year by Emporia State standards, great year by any standard, but how did you guys stay motivated in the offseason to hopefully take another step and make it an even better year this year?
As far as the returners, I say we kind of had a bad taste in our mouth leaving last year the way we did, and we want to bounce back this year. And a lot of the guys that we recruited, the older guys coming in, they know kind of what the motto is and where we want to get to this year. So I feel like we kept that motivation, and that's kind of been our focus going into this year. And as far as like the preseason stuff, the coaches have done a great job not really mentioning too much about it. Every game matters from this point on, and I think we're just ready to jump the ball up.
And how do you think the integration has gone with the core of guys, a really strong core that's come back, that got a lot of blocks and steals for you last year, a lot of points and rebounds, with the new guys who are coming in and trying to integrate everybody into Coach Doty's system?
Yeah, it was a little adjustment, just real competitive at first, obviously. A lot of guys fighting for those roles, and a lot of guys wanting to be in the positions that they envision themselves in with our team. But I think we've done a good job of gelling that together these last few weeks and really just pushing forward to become a unit for the season.
Vince.
Hey, Kaden, Coach was saying that, it's really not about wins and losses at this game. It's really to find out, who you guys are and what you guys have. Is that how you view it, and what are you looking forward to out of this game to maybe see what you guys have as a group?
Yeah, me personally, I just look at it as an opportunity. I feel like we've been using that word a lot this week, and a bunch of other guys that talk in the locker room it's all about opportunity. The opportunity we get to go there and play, the opportunity we have to go to Florida will be great. And just kind of taking it one step at a time and becoming a unit is going to be the biggest key for us after this weekend.
Now, do you know anybody on that roster at all?
There's a KC kid, Taj Manning, that I'm familiar with, played with my little brother back in the day, and then I've been a KU fan, and I keep up with K-State, though, so been a little bit of a Tang fan. It'll be interesting, though. It's a great team, great program, and just excited.
And what can you learn from, as Coach Doty was kind of talking about, what can you learn from this game and what Coach Tang has built to integrate it in your guys' program at the same time?
We know there's going to be a certain level of on-the-court physicality and athleticism that we're going to have to try to match, but just being able to see the game how they see it, and we're going to have to be a step faster. We're going to have to be better as a team, especially on the defensive end, and then we're going to have to really work together on offense, and everything's going to be about the team tomorrow just because the differences in athleticism and physicality, we're going to have to try to match that using each other.
That's all I got, man. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Glenn?
You're pretty tight with Ochai, right? Are you picking up? He beat K-State a handful of times.
Oh yeah, we were kind of laughing about that. I get to give my crack at K-State this year, but yeah, he had a great career. We were pretty close growing up, so it's crazy how it ends up now.
He was there on draft night. Kaden was there on draft night.
About playing at Bramwich Coliseum, or what it's like there.
Oh, it's crazy. Of course, all the stories. I remember all the games I got to watch him play there, and it's just going to be a great experience. I have yet to be there yet, so I'll get my first look in Manhattan, and just can't wait.
What are you hoping to achieve yourself? Obviously, team goals, and you guys want to go out there and be competitive. Is there a looseness that you can play with, knowing that it's an exhibition? Do you take an extra shot that you wouldn't take, or try to get that pass that thread the needle that you wouldn't normally throw?
Yeah, personally, I'm just kind of going into the game, just going to play how I play and just kind of fulfill my role to the fullest. I know a lot of the guys are sitting in the same boat when it comes to that, but it's definitely you can kind of take a step back and just enjoy the moment when it's an exhibition game. As far as the competitive side, though, we still want to compete and do what we can to take that next step.
I'll end with one unrelated. You got a favorite Halloween candy or a cop? Are you dressing up tonight, or what's going on?
I got my dog a costume, and he's going to be a Hornet, so I might have to match with him on that one. Be a Hornet for Halloween.
Thanks, man.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we're good. Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.